Now, on the latest show, we are all about bringing you the best new comedians, and tonight we have another exceptional one joining the latest show. So, guys, please raise the roof and make some noise for Chantel Nash!
Chantel, and I turned 30 recently. Thank you. Black don't crack? Yeah. Except for at the heel. We'll go there. And as I turned 30, I decided I was going to reinvent myself. So I wanted to be fun, more cool, a bit more edgy. So I shaved my head and I dyed it orange, right? And I love it. I love it. But I've learned a couple of things. I've learned there are two types of people with this hair. There's me, and then there's 60-year-old black women. And people are sometimes surprised when I tell them my age. They say I've got quite a young-looking face. It's not true. I'm just short. I've got quite a boyish physique, and somebody a few weeks ago told me I look like the love child of Sinead O'Connor and a Jaffa cake. Rude. As Mo said, I'm a relatively new comedian, so I should tell you a bit about myself. I was born in Essex. A really small, picturesque town on the border of East London and Essex. That town is called Dagenham. Yes. Now, for those of you who don't know where Dagenham is or anything about Dagenham, the local landmarks of Dagenham include the old Ford factory, and the BNP. Don't worry, though, I was raised protected because I was raised by a Caucasian, yeah? My stepdad, to be precise, which means that I was actually raised to have the confidence of a mediocre white man. Just none of the power or fucking privilege. I'm also a mum. I've got 2 kids. I've got a 4-year-old and a 1.5-year-old. Yeah, thank you. Thank you very... Oh, thank you. Thank you. She got knocked up. The end. No, I've got a 4-year-old and a 1.5-year-old. My 4-year-old's getting really big and beautiful. All the fat in her body has been redistributed to her attitude. It's great fun. And I'm breastfeeding my son currently. I'm doing what they call extended breastfeeding. And breastfeeding is hard. It's fucked my shit right up. I actually call my boobies the working girls because my son is the tiny pimp. Get up those sillies, bitch. People get really animated when they find out you've done extended breastfeeding. I breastfed my oldest until she was 2, and people would say things to me like, oh my God, you breastfed her until she was 2. Didn't she have teeth? To which I would reply, yeah. And so is every man you ever had suck on your tits, Claire? I hope. Imagine that, only dating toothless men or some kind of fucked up principle. Just lapping at your tits like they're sipping soup, just... Disgusting, right? Nasty business. I'm also Dominican. Do we have any Dominicans in? Yeah. I am saying Dominican, not Dominican, because, fun fact, Dominica and the Dominican Republic are different fucking places, OK? No hablo español, OK? And I love being Dominican. I love being Dominican, and I love meeting Dominican men when I was dating because they reminded me a lot of my biological dad because they're from kind, and they are funny, and they are hard to find. But there is an element of danger being a Dominican woman seeking a Dominican man on the dating scene, and that #1 danger, unfortunately, is incest. I hate to say it. Because in the Caribbean community, there's no such thing as a stranger, is there? No. Just a cousin you haven't met yet. So this weighed heavy on my mind when I was dating. I was out at a bar one time and I met this lovely guy called Daniel. He was gorgeous, man. He looked like the love child of Anthony Joshua and Michael B. Jordan. Just, oh yeah. Someone get a mop. A gorgeous man. And I really liked him, so I was like, oh, I'm racking my brains, incest, what am I going to do? I was like, oh, I don't have time to wait for blood test results. I don't. So I did what any self-respecting woman would have done in that situation. I sucked his dick and sent him on his way. It's the safest thing to do. And as I from Dominican. People don't know much about Dominica. It's a small island in the Caribbean, and people sometimes underestimate Dominicans, and you shouldn't. And I'm going to leave you with a story about why you should never underestimate a Dominican, right? So my grandmother came to London in the 1960s. Tough time for black people. No blacks, no dogs, no Irish. OG racism, right? If that racism were a flavour, probably be licorice. Hear me out. You either love it or you hate it. And those of you who are quiet, I know what you're thinking. I love licorice all sorts. Right? Anyway, my nan was in the butcher's one day. She's in the queue, and this little white lady comes in and cuts in front of her, right? Now, my nan taps this woman on the shoulder and says, "Excuse me, madam, there's a queue." This little white lady turns around and says, "I don't care, you can wait." Rude. Ooh, rude, right? Now, what you have to understand about my nan is that she was a lovely woman, right? Just super polite. She was a beacon of the community, always impeccably turned out. Just a lovely woman. Wouldn't say boo to a goose. So she taps this little lady on the shoulder, leans forward and whispers in her ear, "Hey, bitch." A lady. This white woman turns around aghast, right? I'm imagining she's clutching pearls at this point. Right? And then as she stood shocked, my grandmother has proceeded to bite that woman on the breast. She locked jaws like a Staffordshire Bull Terrier, just ah! She was later arrested. But I think the punishment doth befit the crime. It does. And I loved telling that story. And I loved telling that story because I love that it goes quiet and everybody thinks it's going to be some Rosa Parks shit, where she turns the other cheek and ascends to the higher ground. No, Pauline Merrifield was a beast. None of this. Michelle Obama, when they go low, you go high. No. Pauline Merrifield said, when they go low, you go lower. And you kneecap that bitch. Right. I've been Chantel, you've been so nice. Bye!